Hi, everyone. Welcome. We're happy to have you here. Welcome to the National Museum of African American History and Culture's Joyful Fridays program. My name is Ariel, and I'm going to be learning and creating with you today along with my teammate, Tammy.
Hi, friends. I'm so thrilled to have you all here with us today as we celebrate our ABC Joyful Friday and as we explore M is for messy.
We are so excited to have so many people here with us already. Thank you so much for being here. During our program, we are going to read a page from the Joyful ABCs book. That's it right there. We're going to look at museum objects together and we're going to create some art. Every week, we will explore one of the many things that make you, you, and all of the wonderful things that you can do.
So it looks like we're all ready. If you can give me 2 thumbs up to let me know that you're ready. I'm ready. Ariel, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
All right. All right, everyone. People like you and people like me can have so many different ways to be. Today, we are learning about one of those ways we can feel and be, and it starts with the letter M. What words do you know that start with M? There are a lot of M words. Tammy, what are a couple that you know?
I'm thinking of 2 words. I'm thinking of M is for magnificent and M is for mountain.
Those are two really big M words. I was thinking of mashed potatoes and melons. I might be being a little bit hungry today. Let's see who is sharing some words in our chat already. Let me go over there. We have mom and miss and monkey and magic.
I see march, make, mist, mountain.
Ooh, I guessed that one too. There's mop and messy and mama and most. There's a lot coming
I know
in.
they're coming in fast. Melody, mat, map, mad.
Ooh, there's moo and Maya. You know, I was thinking of a lot of words like that, or names that start
Mhm,
with M, like Mason or Malachi or Michael or Molly. Those are some names.
mhm.
Let's say a
I
few more words in there. We have
wow.
miracle and moon. Any more?
We have meat, man, mood,
All
my.
right. Oh, that's a good one. That's a quick and easy one. All right, now the word we are going to actually be learning about today is messy. M is for messy. Let's read a page from our book together to find out more about this special word. M is for messy. Some days are easy. Everything falls into place and you shine. Some days are messy. You forget to brush your teeth. You fight with your friend. Nothing goes right. Being messy is okay. It just shows you have new things to learn and new ways to grow. Some days we have messes. Messes are a part of everyday life. We spill things, we lose things, we drop things, we break things, we rip things, we trip, we bump into things, we forget things, we fall, we get a little bit confused. We may even fight with our friends or not feel happy about something that's going on in our family. Things in the world just may feel hard. And you know what? That's just a part of being human. Humans mess up and make mistakes, and it doesn't mean there is something wrong with us or that we are bad. People are just messy sometimes. Every time we make a mistake or things get a little bit chaotic in our lives, those are moments we can learn something new. We can learn that there might be another creative way to do something or a different way to make it better. We may find that there's actually an interesting way to do that same thing next time. When we see a problem, we might feel really worried or concerned and not really sure what's going to happen next. But we can always pause and think, what can I do with this mess? What can I think of to make it better? I can pause and calm down and think about it and start over again. And I'm really grateful for that. I see in our picture today, there's a friend who maybe made a little bit of a mistake by not zipping up their backpack, or something happened and all of the things in their backpack fell onto the ground and made a mess. But you know how they're fixing that messy moment? They're working together to put all of the things back in the backpack. Today, we're going to look at a couple art pieces from our museum together, and we're going to think about how even if things seem all over the place, like how they sometimes feel in our own lives, if you pause and look closely, you may be able to see things just a little bit differently in the messy art. Your brain may be able to find something interesting and beautiful in the mess. You want to try it out? Let's try it out. All right, so this is a painting by Alma Thomas. There are a lot of colors and shapes, and it looks like she used a paintbrush to make a bunch of little marks all over the place. Can you pretend to do that with me? Let's take our paintbrush like this, and we're gonna make a bunch of little marks all over the place. So let's go really, really fast all over. All over, and then let's do just a few that are nice and slow. Nice and slow. Can you fill the whole page up, every single corner? All right, now maybe Alma Thomas had something else in mind that made her paint this, but to me, I just see a lot of things and shapes and colors all over, and I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Sometimes we can get that feeling in real life too, right? But I want us to look closely and tell me in the chat, do you see anything in this picture? Do you see shapes that maybe make a different picture? Do you see any faces or animals or letters in there? What do you see? Maybe you can even use your finger to trace parts that you see. Someone has already seen something pop out to them. They see a pair of lips. And I think I might be able to see something just like that too. Someone else sees a sun. So even in all that's going on, they see a sun or a pair of lips. Someone else thinks that they see a back of a fish in the right corner. So maybe they see like a fish tail, right? What else are people seeing, Tammy?
Someone sees a bird,
Oh,
a mouse. Wow, someone sees a lot of things. A city, mouth, a bird, a butterfly, a boat in the sun. That came from one person. So they see a lot of things in that one.
yeah, so their imagination is helping them see something in this little bit messy art. Someone else I saw, they had, let me see, it says, one of us sees a face, the other sees a lot of squares, and the third sees lips. So there's a few people who are seeing those lips standing out. Someone else sees a boat, clouds, a butterfly. Someone's noticing that there's light blue. There's a lot of different colors. Now, Tammy, I want to know, when you are looking at this art piece, what do you imagine you see, even though it's a little bit messy? What do you see inside of this?
I need to put my spy eyes on. You know what grabs my attention? I see something in the upper, maybe the right-hand corner of the painting, and to me it looks like a face. It kind of has the
Oh,
orange and the red pieces in them.
all right. So you think you see a face maybe on the side. Now let's see if we can show our friends today the side, the face that you're talking about. All right, let's see. All
Yeah,
right.
that's
So
it.
Tammy saw a face. I think that does look like a face too. It looks like he's peeking out from the side and giving a little smile, and maybe has his nose popping out right there. And you know what? Because you saw a face in all that was going on, it makes me wonder that if that is a person's face, what would he be looking at? What might be around the corner that he's peeking at over there? So when I'm looking at the bottom, that pink part, I think some people were seeing some lips in that pink part maybe. But when I'm seeing that with the lighter blue in the middle and the little bits of green and purple, it kind of makes me feel like, what if he's looking at a big, tall bowl of ice cream that's all stacked up on top of that bowl? What do you think? I'm going to show you what I think I see in this messy art. Do you think that could be it? I see a colorful pile of ice cream scoops. Again, might just kind of be in the mood for some snacks, but that could be it too. And I wonder what flavors they would be. How about let's all take one big imaginary scoop of ice cream together. So you just take one big scoop and I wonder what flavors those might be if they're blue and green and purple. Now, remember, an ice cream bowl of ice cream probably wasn't what Alma Thomas meant to paint. Since this painting is called Suddenly It's Spring, I think maybe she was painting what some of you all noticed, like the sky or butterflies or flower or water. But this reminds us that when everyone looks at a problem or a mistake or a mess that's been made, we all may see something just a little bit different. And that's awesome because that means we can all work together to find a solution. Let's look at one more art piece together. This one right here is called Increase Risk with Emotional Faith by Kevin E. Cole. There is a lot going on in this art piece. At our museum, when this art piece is on the wall, it kind of pops out at you. There's all of these different pieces popping out on the sides, and it's very colorful, and it looks all tangled up in the middle. The artist's inspiration for this piece was ties, the kind that you wear, and all of the different colors and patterns that ties can come in. And he made it look like they're kind of all tangled up in a knot right there in the center. There's a lot going on, and when we first look at it, it kind of looks like a mess. But remember, if we pause and we look closely, we might see things just a little bit differently, and we might be able to see how beautiful something is, even though it's a little messy too. So let's take a deep breath so we can focus in and see what we see. So everyone take one big deep breath like this. Now, what do you see? What colors and patterns do you see? There's a lot of different colors and patterns. Someone is already sharing with us that they see one that looks like it's a multicolored crayon. So a crayon that has all kinds of colors in it. Tammy, what are you noticing?
I'm seeing some stripes and quite a few stripes and some zigzag patterns.
Someone's saying that they see a tree or maybe a ball with crayons stuck onto it. So some people are kind of seeing not just the patterns, but that this might even be a completely different picture. Some people are seeing purple. My cat is joining us to show us what he sees. Okay. There's a guitar and a dragon tongue and rainbows maybe in our picture today. I'm gonna show us what else we could zoom in on here. And look at that, there's all kinds of patterns. Someone sees a cat's tail. Cat's tail. There's little squares all over the place. There's zigzags. There's diagonal stripes and there's straight stripes. There's purple and yellow. And what other colors are on there, Tammy?
I see some blue, I see black, and I see some green. But I wanted to mention someone says they see fire.
Oh, I might be able to see that too when I'm looking at this. I think I see a couple parts that look like fire to me too. You know, even though this did feel a little bit messy, now when I'm looking at it, I see all of the different things that you all were mentioning, Plus, I'm seeing that this artist took their time to put a lot of different details in all of these different spots. Now, I want to ask you our question of the day before we start our own art project today. Today, our question is, what makes you feel better when things feel messy? We've been thinking about how when things get messy, we can figure out a solution or we can figure out a new and beautiful way to look at it. But I want to know in real life, when you make a mistake or you're having a rough day, when things just aren't going right, is there someone who helps you feel better? Is there something that you do to make yourself feel better? Do you decide to just have some fun? What do you say in your mind to yourself that helps you feel better? What do you do when things get messy or just a little messed up? So I see that someone says that their mommy and their daddy and their family members and their cat are people who help and animals that help them feel better. Someone else's friends help them to feel better. Someone else says that they breathe and step back and look at the situation from another perspective. So they find a different way to look at it. What else do people do?
Taking some space to pause, that's important too. Someone likes to tickle in TV. They're coming in so fast. Let's see. Cleaning it up by myself, drinking peppermint tea, and breathing.
Some people go to a cozy place. Someone else is saying that when they build something and it gets knocked over, their mom helps them to build it back again. That might make them feel better to work with someone else to fix the knocked over tower. One thing I was thinking about, some people already mentioned this, is one time I had made my dinner and it was all nice and delicious and ready to eat it. And when I was taking it over to the table, I just dropped my plate and the food went all over the place. And that made me really, really upset and really, really sad because I was excited to sit and eat my dinner. So you know what I did? I didn't even clean it up right then. I just let it sit on the ground because I was feeling very angry. And I just stepped away and I got a different snack until I calmed down. And then I went back to pick it up a little bit later. And then I tried to make a different dinner another time. Sometimes you got to just step away and come back a little later. All right, now I'm thinking that we all have a lot of different ways. We're going to get to keep thinking about all of the different ways that we choose to fix our messes. And I'm excited today because we're going to be learning about another way, another style for making something that seems a little bit messy at first, actually become really beautiful and interesting. It is officially our art time.
Art time. Thank you, Ariel. There are so many ways to be messy and so many fun ways to enjoy those messes. So today we're going to be making art that may look a little messy, like this one. I'll show you mine. And it's called scribble art because we use a lot of scribbles to make, I use a lot of scribbles to make my art. So today what you'll need is you'll need some white paper. This could be any color, but I think colors really stand out on white paper. You need a black marker to make these lines right here. And you'll need crayons, colored pencils, or markers. I actually used all three on mine. So maybe the more types of things you use to color with, the more creative it can be. So our first step when we're making our art today is we're going to be making what people call scribbles. That means we're going to draw freely around the page. And we're going to be moving our hands in many different ways. So let's start off by moving our hands and our wrist freely. First is like warm them up. Let's get them warmed up. And I'm going to pretend that my hand is like an ice skater or a roller skater. So I'm going to kind of slowly make some loops. If you can make those with me, some loops, and then, oh, maybe some more loops around. And maybe we can go and make fast loops, like they're spinning. The ice skater is spinning around, and then we could make maybe something like zigzags. And those are like short lines, long lines that just go around, up and down, side to side. Can we make them fast? Can we make them slow? Can we make small zigzags? Can we make even smaller zigzags? Thank you. So thank you for joining me with that. So that's how we're going to make our scribble today. And I wanted to ask you, like, how did you feel when you made that movement? How did it feel? Did it feel like you kind of knew what you were doing? Was it kind of unexpected feeling? And to me, it felt kind of like messy and all over the place. Like I didn't really know where my hands and arms are going to go. So guess what? We're going to take those motions and those movements and make scribble art. Scribbling can be messy or seen as a mistake, but we're going to scribble today and see what we see in our art. So here are some examples when we just let our black marker kind of go around the page. I kind of went fast here. Fast here. And you go slower with these long lines and these swirls. So Ariel, hiya. I can see where you kind of went fast and slow on your page. Oh, it's a good idea to turn it around too and see it from different angles.
Yeah, so our art isn't gonna, when we're about to get our markers and start on it, we're just trying to show you that it can look very different. It doesn't all have to look the same, and it's not gonna look how you might expect it to look too.
And that's okay. That's a great thing about scribble art. So to start our art, let's get our marker. But before we start drawing, I'll suggest some movements for your hands and how to move your marker around the page. And I'll also tell you when to stop because we're going to try a few different ways to move our hands. So, okay, you ready? Have your marker. So let's pick it up and let's start with the ice skating movement. Maybe start from one side of the page, go to the other, and stop. Good job, pick up your marker. All right, so now we're going to look at what you have so far. This is what I have. You can see what Ariel has. Excellent. So now we are going to try that zigzag motion. Okay, we're going to go kind of fast this time. You ready? All right, let's go. Stop. Perfect. That's great. Okay, Ariel, we have one more movement to do. Do you want to guide us? What should we do for our last movement and how should we move?
I think we should just do a curly line all around.
Curly line all around? All right,
Yep.
You ready?
Yep.
Your marker? All right, let's go. And stop. So let's take a second just to look at what we've made. So here's mine. Turn it around at a different angle so you can see it that way. And now that we have our black lines, we are going to start filling them in. I'm going to show you these little spaces, like right here, right here, and right here. They're kind of like called closed shapes. So they're kind of like closed in, but they're not really circles or triangles. They're hard to kind of describe what these shapes are called. So we're just going to call them just closed shapes. So we're going to start maybe pick two of them. And let's start filling them in with just a color.
Someone's calling all of those shapes you were pointing out abstract shapes. And I think you're right. When they're kind of shapes that may not look exactly like one kind of shape, like a square or a circle, but it is a shape. It just may not exactly have a name. I think abstract shape is a really good way to describe it and to name it.
I think that is too. All right, so let's pick two. They could be a big abstract shape. It could be a small one. And we can start coloring them in.
Yeah,
So you maybe
just a few. Yeah, 2 or a couple more.
oh, it kind of depends on what
If
you
you
have.
have a lot of them
Yeah.
today, and we have a little bit of time, so we could do a few.
And you may ask, is it okay to draw outside the lines? Of course it is.
Oh yeah.
What if someone wants to use more than one color in one shape? Is that okay?
Yep. That's a great idea. And so when you're looking around, you're just looking for any empty spot, and you can add in any kind of colors you want in there. And I'm putting mine in different spots all around my page so they're not all in one spot, but it's up to you. And as we're adding colors, it was reminding me of when we were looking at the Alma Thomas painting, how
Mm.
there was a little bit of color in all of these different spots, so there was a lot of blue in her art piece, but each little square was made differently, or each little abstract shape was made differently.
Right. I know I said 1 or 2. I'm gonna pick a few more because I have
I
a
know,
lot
I'm like,
of
technically,
spaces.
sometimes it doesn't necessarily take that much time to fill in the shape. So,
I
but
think when I
now I think I'm ready to get to do our next step.
in my first one, I didn't have that many shapes, so I have a lot more this. Okay, so next step, if you want to keep coloring your shapes in with just one color, that's fine. But our next step, we are going to try and make some patterns inside of our shapes.
Okay.
And I'm going to pick maybe 2 shapes or 3 shapes, and I'm going to create a pattern in them. Remember when we saw the tie art and there were so many different patterns on those pieces of art? We saw zigzags that kind of went like this. We saw lines. We saw a checkerboard that kind of went down and then went across. We saw stripes. We saw polka dots. So let's try and create some of those shapes or some patterns in our shapes. So maybe you can start off coloring in a shape with a solid color and then add some patterns on top of that. And that's what I'm going to do.
So I'm doing I have one big shape in the middle of mine that has a lot of space. So I decided to make these they're almost like polka dots, except they're like polka squares.
Polka squares. And some of you may have done your scribble art and thought, I really don't like this. It doesn't look like the way I want it to look. And that's okay. That's kind of how messes are. Like, you don't expect them to be a certain way. You may want things to work out a certain way, but they don't. But we're going to find out just how beautiful this art can be, this kind of scribble art can be.
Tammy, I think today's a perfect example. It's kind of funny that my cat Olaf, is joining us today because he is showing how sometimes things don't go how we thought they would. Normally, Olaf's taking a nap at this time, but today he decided to walk in front of the camera a lot. He was chewing on the wires of my computer just now. He was trying to knock this off of my table. He's, for some reason, trying to make a mess today, but instead of getting too upset about it, I'm trying to embrace it and give him a good hug and a good pet when he comes by. And I hope that maybe it's bringing you all some joy to finally see him during one of our classes, actually.
I know it brought me a lot of joy to see him.
Good.
And maybe he just wanted a few more extra cuddles and snuggles, and
yeah.
know how to tell you. That's the way he communicates.
Yeah, so he's kind of messing up what I thought my plan was going to be today, but I still am feeling very loving towards him, and I'm very happy he came to join us at the end of the day. I am happy about that.
And
All
that
right.
reminds me too of my morning. I had my whole outfit picked out this morning, and I went to get it out and realized I didn't have enough time to iron my clothes or do,
Ah,
and so I said, you know what? Instead of getting upset, I said, let me find a really fun way to get dressed today. So my outfit is on purpose. I decided to go with a lot of different colors and patterns and maybe wore some earrings that didn't match and just had fun with my clothes today. So that was kind
yeah.
of like a mistake that, or something that happened that was messy, and I turned it into something really fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you look beautiful with all those different patterns, but like you were saying, it's just maybe just a little unexpected. You didn't
Yes,
expect that was what you were going to wear today, but you made it work. You're
I
making it work.
did. I think I may take some
um,
pictures later. Okay. Are you ready for our
well,
next
someone was
step?
saying that Olaf did, there's a few people who did like seeing Olaf today. So I'm glad that he brought you all some joy and he will get some extra love later. Thank you for that. I think I'm ready for our last step, Tammy.
Okay. All right. So here I have I made some polka dots on mine right here. We'll have a
Oh,
lot more
uh-huh.
shapes to go. But our last step is to pretty much color in anything you want. Um, this is a time for you all to get really creative and draw whatever you want. And maybe you can add a secret message to yours or a secret shape or pattern. But it's all going to be up to you.
Is
So let
this
me,
where we can look and think about what we might also see in ours? I think that that would be a good last. Is that our last step?
no, well, yes, it was a kind of a
Okay.
combination of just filling it in
Oh,
and
okay, okay.
then we're going to see what we see. But you can take this time now to kind of step back, look at what you have, maybe turn it around. And if you want to add more stuff to more art to your scribble art, go ahead and we'll give you, I think you have a little bit of time,
Mm-hmm.
right? A few minutes to kind of add those last details in your art. And then we'll take a step back and see what we see. Is that okay?
Okay. So when you're looking at it, remember how we saw in our Alma Thomas painting that there was maybe Tammy saw a face and I saw an ice cream. So you might want to look at your scribbles and see, are you seeing anything like a different picture that you could make today when you're looking at yours?
Hmm.
I already see something in mine that I can maybe make. I don't want to add anything else because I only have one last shape left to color. So I
You
think,
colored so fast.
yeah, I guess that's part of sometimes that part of art is just not even thinking too much about it, just
You know what? You're
filling it
absolutely right.
in.
Yep.
Tammy, I'm gonna just say what I see in mine.
Okay.
I was kind of seeing a frog in mine. I know it might not be able to be seen by everyone, but let me show you what I see. So I'm gonna add some eyes up here like this. And then I'm gonna color my frog, and I think Olaf's gonna join us again. One moment. Okay, so
It's
he's
gonna
sitting
be
in front of my frog, but my frog is gonna be right here. I'm gonna add some green right here, and then these are gonna be my frog's legs right here. Do you
I
see that?
I
Can
do
you all
see
see
that.
that? Okay.
I think Olaf
Um,
was probably asking, why aren't you drawing a cat? Why aren't you drawing me?
yeah, maybe that's what's happening today. Okay.
All right, I'm gonna show you mine. And as you were you were talking about yours, Ariel, I was starting to
Uh-huh.
see a little shape in mine. I kind of see a bird. I see the two eyes here, maybe a little feather. Was it a quail that has that feather on top?
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
maybe like the back of it, and maybe these could be the wings. So maybe I'll just add some more detail to make it like a bird.
Yeah, I wonder, does anyone before we go today want to share what they might have added, like if they saw something special in theirs. Anyone adding anything like a little secret in there? And I'm adding my frog's tongue right there so he can get some flies.
Some of them have really long tongues too.
Oh, someone says that theirs looked like a beach and they're adding a sun.
Mm.
Whoops. Okay, Tammy, I think that mine is done and ready to go for today.
I mean,
I think Olaf wants me to be done. So I just wanted to see what yours look like and then tell everyone something.
So this is mine. All I did was added some eyes and some feet.
Oh, okay.
But what I really love about this art project is that I started off with just letting my hand go all over the page. I had no idea what I was going to draw. And then now I have like an abstract bird.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it. And that's the thing is it may look a little bit messy at first, but even you sharing your ideas with someone else helps them to see what you see. And that's really awesome to be able to see multiple things. Someone else is saying that theirs turned into a 3 today. I would love to see everyone's art. Thank you so much to everyone who has already shared their art projects with us before. We really love looking at them, and it makes us feel really good to know that you're actually out there creating with us. So please feel free to continue sharing your finished projects with us on social media by using the hashtag NMAAHC or tagging the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
Thank you for joining us this week. This was really fun. I hope you enjoyed spending time with us and Olaf as we learn the many ways that we can be. I hope you continue making messes and finding the joy and possibilities and the unexpected moments in your day and in your life.
Join us next week. We will be creating art inspired by a different Joyful ABCs activity book. N is for natural, and I'm really excited to celebrate our natural beauty with you next week.
In the meantime, we hope you find joy in many ways to create, discover, and explore. Until next time.
Bye, everyone.